Hey y'all, hope you're doing well. I know things are still pretty crazy and things are changing, but not necessarily for everyone. So I know a lot of people are still locked down right now. And as we go through quarantine and lockdown and isolation, it gets tougher for a lot of people for a lot of reasons. The work thing is hard, and I've talked about that some, and I'll talk about it more. The opportunities that we have right now, things that we can be changing, but the mental stability thing is getting really tough for a lot of people. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, which is pretty much a cornerstone of anxiety. And, it's unfortunate that it puts people in a position to stay at home and do things like watch the news, or in an attempt to gain some certainty, they just stay locked into constant updates on the coronavirus. I would really, really recommend against that. I have seen some people that are doing that, and it has proven to be very detrimental to their mental stability, mental health, their general mood. And I'll tell you, whatever you believe about reporting or the severity of things that are going on right now, the media definitely has an interest in keeping you worried, keeping you afraid, and keeping you continuing to come back to them to get updates. And if you stay scared, they feel sure that you will feel the need to keep checking in. So my recommendation is, obviously, don't stick your head in the sand. You still want to know kind of what's going on. But if you are watching the news a lot right now, and you know what? This applies for the rest of the time too, not just during a lockdown. This is probably some good advice just in general, but try to really limit your exposure to all the news right now. 10, 15 minutes in the morning, 10, 15 minutes, not last thing you do at night, but maybe after dinner, if you want to get caught up, that's really all it takes. Sitting down in front of the TV for hours at a time and binge watching the news is not gonna make you feel good. I can guarantee it. The stories that lead are not the stories that somebody has recovered. That's not it. That doesn't get much airtime. It doesn't get much, airtime when we're hearing about immunity. If you look into some deeper stories, you'll see that a lot of people apparently have an immunity already to this based on testing, not based on an assumption. It's not a guess. We know it's true, but that's not really what leads. It's if they can find a young person who's gotten sick, that will consume all the airtime because it spreads a lot of fear. A good example of that was that lacrosse player, Jack Allard, 25-year-old kid who was an athlete who got sick, and he ended up in a medically induced coma. I don't know his story forward to back, but I know that's true. I would assume because he was on a vent, and you have to be heavily sedated for that to happen. And so one news station just went ahead and reported he was dead. He is not. He recovered, walked out of the hospital with his family. But yeah, they just went ahead and ran a story that it killed him. 25-year-old kid's dead. Doesn't matter, that's not accurate. It's scary, and so that's what runs. And so I would tell you to really try to limit your exposure, and also really consider the sources that you're getting your information from. If it begins with doom and gloom and lists of things like why you should be afraid, I've literally seen those why you should be afraid. The scariest things about. If you see crisis in giant letters at the beginning, maybe look somewhere else. Try to find some more objective news, because all that's going to do is make you fearful. And then when you hear accurate information, it makes it tough to figure out what's real and what isn't. So think about, what you're paying attention to, and overall limit your exposure to it. Because the thing is, even if you get, new news, something changes. Unless you have the knowledge and the facilities to create a cure or a vaccine in your home, what does that new information do for you? We know that this is contagious. How contagious, we're not sure. We know that, older people are vastly more effective, and it does kill them. Not all of them, obviously, but there's a small percent that do die from this. So what new information are you really gaining by watching the news all the time, and what can you do with that information? I think that's the really important thing. What actionable intel are you getting, or are you just consuming a lot of fear and increased uncertainty? So we can't control what's going on around us right now, but we can control what we let into our head and what we do with that information. So if you're having some anxiety, go watch something funny. Get out of the house, really. That's the better option. Go play outside. Go do something fun. I don't know, go for a walk. But sitting on the TV watching doom and gloom from a group of people that have a financial interest in keeping you afraid and keeping you hooked on their programming is probably not ideal. So just something to think about. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you are staying sane. Keeping your wits about you. So have a good day.